Owa Adigizua. He's off the board.
You just wanted to say that. I know.
He went to the Giants.
Somewhere Jim Donovan's like, yes. Don't have to say that one on the broadcast.
It just doesn't matter how many times you hear it or see it or say it. You just never get used to it.
You know how you see these guys that look like Adonises, Tarzan, and sometimes they play like Jane? Well, Owa looks like Tarzan and friggin' plays like Tarzan. Speed to power is the name of Owa's game.
Tevin Coleman also off the board, the running back out of Indiana. I had seen some Browns fans tweeting about him, commenting about him as a possibility. So we're up to the Saints now at 75. Third round. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to jinx it. Well, we're almost to 77. I'll say that.
There you go. Let's go back to that whole Atlanta Falcons taking Tevin Coleman, and we talk about the situation. We talk about the scheme. We talk about the system. We talk about the offense. Who's the offensive coordinator in Atlanta? That would be Kyle Shanahan. If there's anybody who can get the most out of running backs, it's Kyle Shanahan. And this is a perfect spot for a guy like Tevin Coleman. He has a chance to be a star. They're not going to be focusing on him. They're going to be focusing on Julio Jones and Roddy White and Matt Ryan. So he's going to go into that system behind that offensive line with those weapons, and he probably is going to explode.
All right. Someone throwing out there, the Browns should take a flyer on Hundley.
Oh, no.
I know you like that, right?
Not in round 3. You can get some starters, Dan. I mean, look, Brett Hundley, he's a running back masquerading as a quarterback, folks. He does nothing of what you want a quarterback to do. Dan, make a list of the quarterback traits that you want in a guy. Like you want pocket presence, you want accuracy.
Pocket presence, strong arm.
Okay, so he's got the strong arm.
A little bit of ability to move around.
Okay.
He doesn't have to be a scrambler necessarily, but he'll move, move away from pressure.
Well, he won't do that. What he'll do is he'll see the rusher coming, and he'll turn into a running back. He's not going to keep his eyes downfield. He's just going to get skittish. You talk about the accuracy. Think about him in college at UCLA, and think about how many guys have been inaccurate in college, gone on to the NFL, and all of a sudden became accurate again.
Doesn't happen very often.
No, he stares down his receivers like he wants to take them out on a date. There are just too many things wrong with this guy. I'm sorry, I think he's a running back playing quarterback. It's going to take the right system, the right coach, and maybe he can become a backup. Maybe.
Yeah, the other thing too is you've got 4 quarterbacks on your roster right now, okay? Now, they probably won't all be there once the season starts, obviously. You have Josh McCown, who's probably your starter. You have Johnny Manziel, who's kind of a developmental guy still.
You
right?
think? Absolutely.
He's going to be your backup. He's the guy you want to get significantly better. He's still a developmental guy. Connor Shaw, I don't know what to say about Connor Shaw. He's your emergency starter, I guess. I don't know if I'd call him a developmental guy. He's a guy you can throw in there in game number 16 against Baltimore, and he won't look completely overwhelmed. He also won't look great. Thad Lewis, again, kind of Connor Shaw. You can't. It's hard to throw another one of these guys into that mix.
Yes.
I mean, how many developmental guys can you have, especially because Johnny Manziel still kind of merits that label?
I think you're absolutely right. And then you ask yourself, if I bring this guy here in round 3, what am I really getting? What am I getting? Am I getting a practice squad guy in round 3? Am I getting a 3rd-string quarterback in round 3? There are certain teams, Dan, that if they're in round 3, round 4, it makes sense for them to try and swing for the fences, try and throw a dart at the wall, and get their quarterback of the future. We've seen that before. This team here in Cleveland still needs starters, and they can still get some starts. You could get somebody here on the right side of the offensive line, an offensive tackle, that could take Mitchell Schwartz's job. I truly believe that with this year's draft. You could get a running back that could come in and take the job from Terrence West. Yeah. I truly believe Duke Johnson could take his job. You could get a tight end here in round 3 that can come in and he can start. Those are the opportunities that the Browns can't pass up on.
The Browns got good players in the third round. Christian Kirksey, again, not a Pro Bowler.
I think you're tossing good around a little bit
Not
too
a
loosely.
great player. He's a guy you can play, though. He's a guy you can give snaps to. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Terrence West is a guy you can give carries to.
Yes.
Garrett Grayson, by the way, will not be coming to the Cleveland Browns because he is a member of the New Orleans Saints.
See, that's a team. You know what I mean? That team is a very good team. There are a lot of pieces in place. They have Drew Brees that can cover up a lot of weaknesses. So swing for the fences, see if you can get your quarterback of the future, see if you can get Drew Brees' eventual replacement. And for Garrett Grayson, Dan, again, really, really good spot. He gets to learn behind Drew Brees, and he gets Sean Payton as his head coach, and Sean Payton is an offensive-minded guy.
I don't buy this crazy Carolina. ESPN's draft cast lists neither quarterback nor wide receiver as one of the Browns' needs. Maybe Ray Farmer's running the draft cast.
Okay, then. Well, then.
All
I
right.
still think wide receiver is a need, yes.
I'm going to say that quarterback is probably a need as well. Garrett Grayson is gone. Does that start anything in this quarterback thing? Do the teams maybe that like Bryce Petty and Brett Hundley, whoever they might be, do they maybe want to move up, or are they going to wait?
I think they're going to wait. I think they'll wait until the value makes more sense. For this team, the Saints, the value made sense. They were looking for a quarterback from the very beginning. People had them linked to Bryce Petty in round 1, maybe even round 2. It wasn't Bryce Petty, obviously. It was Garrett Grayson. But that's a team that needs to think about the future because Drew Brees is not going to be there forever. You got to find a successor.
Chris Conley of Georgia goes to Kansas City. That's a pick they got from the Vikings, and now here we are back to the Cleveland Browns at number 77. We'll see what kind of value they can find here in this pick. They've taken two defensive players, one offensive lineman. Where are they going? We've gotten here. Where are they going?
Well, I'm just going to continue to go by their philosophy, all right? Run the ball, stop the run, get after the passer. And yes, they've done all three of those things, but they could still get better along the offensive line. I truly believe that. They could still find another pass rusher, but I continue to go back to running back. I think the Browns were very interested in Todd Gurley in the first round. I think the Browns were very interested in Melvin Gordon, and we've had Abdullah come off the board. We've had TJ Yeldon come off the board. We've had Tevin Coleman come off the board. I think, we talk about tiers all the time, Dan. There's like these certain tiers. At quarterback, there was one tier, and it was Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota. At running back, there was one tier. It was Gurley, Melvin Gordon. Then you get into the second tier. I think at the end of this second tier is Duke Johnson. He's the last one of the second tier, and then you get into this next tier with Ajayi, Buck Allen, David Johnson, Mike Davis. So if the Browns want to continue to run the ball, they had like 30 carries per game split with their own guys. They had 3 guys going into last year with Ben Tate, Isaiah Crowell, Terrence West. I think they're going to get a running back to replace Glenn Winston.
Yeah, well, it looks like they are going to go with a running back with this pick. We'll see if the pick has, in fact, come in yet. I'm trying to see which running back specifically they're going with. I'm just seeing it referenced on Twitter that that's what they went with. Mm-hmm. And I just have to make sure we got the right one here.
And you said Kansas City picked in front of the Browns?
Yes, they picked a wide receiver. They traded in front of the Browns.
Interesting. And took a wide receiver,
And they are going to take Duke Johnson.
Oh, there you go.
That's your pick.
I mean, again, explosiveness, an element to this team that isn't currently here. And you can look at his 4.5 40. You can look at his size being 5'9". This is somebody who's just explosive, and he's sudden, and he's got make you miss, and he's got home run hitting ability. And this is about the right spot for him. You've got Terrence West running in between the tackles. a bulldozer. You've got Isaiah Crowell. He runs with a violence to his game. And now you've got Duke Johnson, who you can toss out there on the perimeter, and he can do some things for you. So it's bringing somebody here, Dan, that has qualities that don't exist right now on this roster.
So the Browns go defensive tackle, offensive line, pass rusher, and then running back. Again, just trying to be solid.
Mm-hmm. And he's not a featured back. Let's make this clear. He's
No.
He's not a foundation piece like Todd Gurley or Melvin Gordon would have been, or maybe even T.J. Yeldon. But he's a complementary piece. He's somebody who's going to help you on third down, maybe with his pass-catching ability, or he's somebody who's just going to be in a rotation when Terrence West starts to wear down the defense or Crow starts to wear down the defense. Then you bring fresh legs and speed with Duke Johnson. This is about where you find a complementary piece. If you want a featured running back, if you want a foundation piece, you got to go in round one. The Browns didn't go in round one, so now you get a complementary piece. And
you're going to run the ball a ton. That's all there is to it. With whoever those running backs are, you're going to run the ball a ton because Josh McCown's your quarterback and Johnny Manziel's your quarterback.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Neither of those guys are going to throw the ball 40 times a game. If that happens, you're going to be in trouble.
Like if you play a video game, right, and then you hit turbo and sometimes you hit the circle button and then you hit the juke button, like Duke Johnson is a walking video game.
Yeah.
He's got all of those moves, and he'll hit you with all of them. You got the injuries, too. Don't forget about that. That's something that has to be considered. You're not talking about the most durable guy or the strongest guy. That's why he's probably going to be a second or third running back.
Yeah, I mean, get ready to play field position. Mm-hmm. Get ready to run the football. Get ready for low-scoring games. That's what the Browns are going to try and do. They're going to try and win football games. Mm-hmm. They're not going to go out there and try and go 2-14. And if they need to run the football and of course play action passing, it's what they've said. They've stayed true to what they've been saying really ever since the combine. Mm-hmm. They weren't going to spend in free agency. They're going to build a team that's built around play action and running the football. They're going to work on the defense. These are all things they've been talking about since the combine, and they've stayed true to that.
Yes. And the other thing that you think about when it comes to Duke, he can help you in the return game. He can return punts for you. He can return kicks for you. And right now, you ask yourself, who's going to be that kind of guy? Is it going to be Travis Benjamin? Do the Browns have enough faith in Travis Benjamin to make him that guy? If not, you've got another option here.
Randy Gregory was told he's trending on Twitter, and he says, quote, "I've been on Twitter trending a lot lately. I'm glad it's for something good." So there's a quote from Randy Gregory, who went to Dallas at pick number 60. So the Browns make their third-round pick. They go with the running back. Now it will be the Saints picking again. They just went with Garrett Grayson a few picks ago back at 75. Then it goes to the 49ers, the Lions, the Bills, the Jets, the Browns, not in the third round as of yet. Again, it'll depend on what Ray Farmer, how things kind of shake out. If he wants to move in, he's got some ammunition to move up a few spots.
Yeah. And that's something that he has done in the past. And you wonder, okay, what would be that area that he wants to address next? Keep in mind, the philosophy has been laid out for all of you. And it doesn't seem to include a wide receiver. Unless he's going to draft a wide receiver that he thinks is going to be like a physical blocker or something like that to block for these running backs, it certainly doesn't seem to be the way that he wants to go.
And they've got an interesting setup of picks in that fourth round. They've got 111, they've got 115, and they've got 116. So they've got a cluster of picks there, including those back-to-back picks in the fourth round. It just feels like they've got to move in them. It feels like Ray Farmer is going to do something with one of those picks. That he's not going to be picking. He's not going to be making 3 draft picks in the span of 7 picks.
Right. And I asked, coming into tonight, Dan, where are the difference makers? Where are the playmakers? Where are my touchdowns on offense? Duke will get you touchdowns. That's something that he will do. He did that in college. He became Miami's all-time leading rusher. So that's a start now for the Browns. They have to continue down that path for me.
We continue here on our NFL draft coverage, looking ahead now to, I got to get back to the third round here on my draft tracker, looking ahead to what the Saints could do after picking a quarterback.
The Saints still, to me, need to boost that defense. They've got so much offense, so much with Drew Brees, and you know it's in his hands, and they've got some decisions to make on some other guys, but they also used a first-round pick last year on Brandon Cooks. So you got to focus on that secondary. Look, you're in a division where you play against Vincent Jackson and Mike Evans and Julio Jones and Roddy White and Kelvin Benjamin. Secondary makes a lot of sense. And the other way that you limit the team's passing game is you put pressure on the quarterback. They've already gone with one pass rusher, one outside linebacker. That's something else that they could go and try and address to go on the other side of their new pass rusher, Kakaha.
And it's kind of tough on the fly here to sit here and list the absolute best available. But if you had to cobble together kind of a list of three or four guys.
Well, I think Eli Harold.
Best available.
Eli Harold is a guy that we came into the night talking about. Maybe he can go in the second round. You know, he's got the pass rushing moves for sure. He's got the athleticism. He's got the burst that you want coming off the edge. Obviously, TJ Clemmings is another guy that we talked about potentially could go in round 2. Got some injury issues along with being just 2 years as an offensive lineman. He was dealing with a foot injury that kind of popped up late in the process. He's available, and a guy that I absolutely love. I thought he could have pushed for the first round, actually, Dan. Grady Jarrett, the defensive tackle from Clemson. Vic Beasley got all the attention for the Clemson Tigers. But we're looking, I think, at the next Geno Atkins. You look at the size and you say, well, he's undersized. Is he going to be strong enough? This is a guy, Dan, that was top 15 in getting after the quarterback in terms of one metric from the interior of the defensive line. He was also top 15 in terms of stopping the run. So I think some team is going to get a heck of a bargain in defensive tackle Grady Jarrett. Those are some guys that really pop up to me. And then P.J. Williams. P.J. Williams from Florida State is a cocky dude. He's aggressive. He plays with swagger. He's going to get in the face of the opposing wide receiver. He gets grabby at times, and he also has some off-the-field issues, but somebody that I think is absolutely worthy of one of the picks coming up here in the later portion of the third round.
Mark Sessler from NFL Network. Duke Johnson, I dig it. Farmer gonna farmer.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I was the guy that wanted the running back Todd Gurley or Melvin Gordon. The Browns decide to wait, and they get somebody with explosiveness and playmaking ability, a complementary piece. You can't hate on this one, I don't think.
Again, you got to find guys in the third round, fourth round, fifth, sixth, seventh. You got to find guys that might not be stars, might not be starters, but they're guys who are going to contribute and are going to help your football team.
For sure.
In small chunks.
You just need an explosive element to this offense. You know, who is going to bring that explosiveness or that big playability? It's not Dwayne Bowe. Dwayne Bowe's tough and physical, and he's going to catch the ball every now and then, and he's going to go across the middle, and Brian Hartline is going to be a reliable possession receiver. He's going to move the chains on third down more than likely. But you ask yourself, you know, who's going to put that spark in the offense, the energy in that offense? I guess Andrew Hawkins kind of can because he's got electric feet, but you don't have that guy really, and Duke Johnson gives you that ability.
We are moving along here in the third round. I just saw a tweet that the Jets are on the clock. They're at number 82, so I think some teams have been getting their picks in here. We're awaiting the official announcement of the Saints pick, but it looks like we're going to roll through some picks here coming up as the Jets.
Let's do this.
The Jets just might very well be on the clock right now.
So they grab New Orleans spot?
Maybe they either traded up or we're way ahead and they just haven't announced.
Okay.
But the tweet says the Jets are on the clock at 82.
Landing spot for a quarterback, possibly, depending on how the Jets' new regime feels about Geno Smith. And that's the wild card when it comes to the Jets. Geno Smith wasn't their guy. Todd Bowles wasn't there when Geno Smith was drafted. The new general manager wasn't there when Geno was drafted. So a lot of times, Dan, you find these new regimes, they come in and they want to put their own mark on the franchise. And they want to build the team their own way. And they want a specific philosophy or a specific quarterback. because they don't want to be linked to the other guy. If that guy has a bunch of questions. I mean, obviously, if you go to Indianapolis, you want to be linked with Andrew Luck or something like that.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about Geno Smith and Ryan Fitzpatrick, it's a little bit different.
Moving along here in the third round, the New Orleans Saints, we await their pick. Of course, they got a quarterback earlier with Garrett Grayson. You know, these second-tier quarterbacks, I don't think either of us really like them too much. If the Browns did take one of them, is there a guy beyond these three? For quarterback? Is there a guy, when you get past Grayson,
I didn't
Petty,
even like these guys.
Huntley, I know. Is there a fourth?
I don't think there is, Dan. The guy that some people are talking about over and over and over again is Sean Mannion. I don't get it. I mean, he's got the size. He was productive at Oregon State, but he is a lumbering fella back there in the pocket, and his comparison is Derek Anderson. I don't know. Look, I mean, you talk about who these guys are getting compared to all the time, and some of the statements that they're making about themselves and how they can be quality players. I don't think it's a compliment for Sean Mannion to be compared to Derek Anderson. Like, hey, Sean, who do you want to be compared to at the next level? I don't think Derek Anderson would make the top 50.
I mean, listen, Derek Anderson has stayed in this league, and he started
Sure.
and won a game last year, and good for him.
Sure.
But yeah, if you want to be a starter in this league, that's not the way to go. So Q-Man says of our guy Duke, he's a one-cut-and-go runner. Do you agree?
Yeah, for sure. That cut's pretty
With that
quick.
speed.
And that go is pretty quick too, my friend. Yes,
And-
that's who he is.
And here's the thing, that's what the Browns do. I know Shanahan's not here anymore,
Yeah.
but they're still going to use a lot of those same principles. That's what Flip's going to use, that zone blocking scheme. You're going to see the same principles, and that's what the Browns want, that one-cut, go guy.
Plus, I said I want a guy who can either break through tackles or make you miss. I want a guy who's going to pick up more than what's blocked. Duke can make you miss. And the minute that he gets into the open field, all of a sudden the opposing defensive coordinator and the fans in the stands are just like, oh, they have to hold their breath. The guy's electric in the open field.
Bucky Brooks, the Browns got a steal in Duke Johnson, the most natural runner in the draft, exceptional combo of vision and pitter-pat. Great hands, too. Let's see, P.J. Williams goes to the Saints. Eli Harold off the board to the 49ers. Alex Carter goes to the Lions. Of those three picks, P.J. Williams, Eli Harold, Alex Carter, your thoughts?
P.J. Williams is a guy that I liked coming into tonight. He was the other one in that secondary with Ronald Darby, who went in round 2. So I'm surprised that he lasted this long. But going to the Saints, that's a good spot for him. Saints need some help in the secondary, and he's feisty. He's aggressive. He's going to see Julio Jones, and he's like, all right, Big Daddy, let's go. Or he's going to see Mike Evans, and he's going to get in the face of those guys. You want that aggressiveness. You want that bump. Not the most physical guy, but aggressive and physical, two different things. So I like that, and Eli Harold, we've talked about him. Hey, man, if he's going to San Francisco and he's going to play opposite Aldon Smith, if Aldon Smith can keep his head on straight and he's going to have Justin Smith in front of him occupying blockers, he can use that speed. He can use that explosiveness to get after the quarterback. And the 49ers have to continue to beef up that defense after two guys retired this offseason.
Yeah, that's the 49ers, man, they had it rough. John Miller, offensive lineman, he goes to the Bills at 81, so we're almost up to 82. And the New York Jets, who I got to get to my list here, but I think I saw that they have made their pick as well. Look through here.
And that's where the Bills needed. They didn't have that first-round pick. They started with number 50. They needed to address that offensive line. They needed to get stronger. Look who that head coach is. That head coach is Rex Ryan. He wants to ground and pound. He wants to smack dudes around. And Miller can smack dudes around. He's a powerful guy.
I don't know what to make of this from Terrence West. If you like the emoticons, I guess, but he tweets out the crying laughing emoticon multiple times.
Okay.
I'm not sure How to read that in light of the pick the Browns just made.
That's really cryptic, and I hate that.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things you just... I don't like to get worked up about what athletes tweet, but that's one of those things that bothers you a little bit.
One of my questions is, why did we go back to the Stone Age and have to start communicating in pictures again? What is this, hieroglyphics?
That's a good question.
I mean, is it okay to just put LOL or ha-ha? You have to put emojis. You have to have pictures to communicate to people. And it's very cryptic because it could be laughing at opposing defenses that are going to have to slow down this new three-headed monster or something like that. Or it could be laughing because, haha, Duke, come try and take my job. I'm better than you. I don't know. I don't know.
All right. Well, I mean, again, you like competitiveness. You want competitiveness in that,
but
in that room, but that's...
That's very cryptic. You don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Are people going at him on Twitter?
You know, some people have kind of, let's see, let's look at some of the replies here. It's always a little dangerous to look at Twitter replies, but someone saying, you know, are you laughing at, oh, here we go. At Terrence West 28, funny you lost your job. George says, don't like the pick.
Don't like the pick of what?
I'm assuming the running back. I don't know.
Geez. Come on,
someone
George.
says, don't worry, dog. Need fresh legs at the RB position. You still good. Can't read. Well, you know, chill out and don't do anything stupid. There you go.
All right.
Someone is calling for him to be shipped out. So no, it doesn't seem like it's going over all that well with people that have seen it.
Okay, then.
You know, not the best decision to tweet out something like that, but again, they'll get into that quarterback room. They had a competitive, running back room. They'll get into that running back room. They had a competitive running back room last year too. Mm-hmm. And then Ben Tate actually got shipped out midseason.
Yeah, and rightfully so.
Yes. And, you know, it was fine. That's the kind of guy Terrence West is, honestly. He's a competitive guy. He'll fight to keep that job. It's good for him. I think it's good that he's got guys pushing him to try and be better, because he needs to get better if he's going to be featured back.
Sure. I'm waiting for LeBron's opinion on this, because I remember he was a big Duke Johnson fan. Yeah. Remember, he used to tweet about Duke Johnson.
And LeBron is bored, so he's not doing anything.
He's impersonating Bane with that mask that he's wearing. So weird. I don't even know what that thing is. Do football players use that too? I haven't seen that.
I don't know. The Jets, Lorenzo... let's see, they go with the outside linebacker Lorenzo Malden from Louisville. The Chargers are up next. We are up to pick number 83. Still no movement from the Browns. We're actually getting close to the compensatory picks, too.
And the Chargers still need to get an offensive lineman. I don't know that they have gotten the memo yet, but, I mean, if you made a list of team needs for the San Diego Chargers, number 1 would be center, number 2 would be offensive guard, and number 3 would be offensive tackle. And they've gone running back, linebacker. Yeah. So let's get it together here, San Diego. Let's protect the quarterback, and let's see if you can open some holes for Melvin Gordon.
By the way, there's this is a tweet. Duke Johnson said he's grateful and excited to be drafted by the Browns, and through the dog pound, some love too. We talk about there being a book on Ray Farmer. There's a book on Browns fans and Browns media members. Mention the dog pound. Say you're excited to play in front of the dog pound.
Yes. Say that you're looking forward to the city of Cleveland and all of the things that Cleveland has to offer. Yes, that's the way to do it. Josh Cribbs can write a book on how to endear yourself to the fans while being a selfish player. Yes, he can.
Hey, Josh Cribbs is available.
Great. Terrific.
He got cut today.
Josh Cribbs, the ultimate me guy, had everybody fooled. I'm convinced of it. You know the next guy who's going to get everybody fooled? Phil Taylor. He's going to fool everybody. But yes, there is a book. The way to endear yourself to the fans is talk about Cleveland, talk about the dog pound, talk about how happy you are to be drafted by the Browns because you got players' mamas out here saying that they're glad their son wasn't drafted by the Browns. So just be anti-Devontae Parker mama.
Hey, Devontae Parker's mom. Best fans in the world. I think. That's what I've heard. The dog pound,
That's right.
Devontae Parker's mom.
Even Danny Shelton said he was going to jump into the dog pound.
Well,
It's
see,
like,
I believe that, and I want to see that.
hold on. Hey, big boy. You got to score
I
first.
know he'll do it.
But you can't jump into the dog pound just because you got a run stop.
I would buy season
doesn't
tickets.
count.
I would buy season tickets just for the promise of having Danny Shelton jump into the dog pound, to be in that stadium and see it live.
Hey, look, guys, I got a sack. Time to jump in the dog pound. Tackle for loss. Time to jump in the dog pound.
Well, if you're building this thing on defense, maybe you should change the way it's done. Didn't the Cavs a few years ago change what they gave away for food? Like, it used to be if you scored 100 points, and then, like, Mike Brown came in and they were like,
That's right.
oh, if we hold a team to this.
Hold them under 100 points. I think
Yeah.
that's what it is. Yeah, Chalupas.
Well, maybe the Browns need to go that route. They need to be, if you get a sack, go jump in the dog pound. Which will be awkward if you're at, like, the 2-yard line on the other side of the field. But
If we score 20 points, here's a lottery ticket for everybody in here.
I still don't like those odds. All right, you know what we haven't done in a while? We haven't taken a break, so we're going to do that real quick as our coverage of the second and third rounds of the NFL draft continue on cleveland.com.